Time to take a coding break. Hello, and welcome back to the Coding Break podcast. This is your medical coding coach, your medical coding instructor, and the host of the Coding Break podcast here with another Coding Break episode. So, on today's episode, I want to focus on the mental health range. Mental health codes, ICD-10 codes, ranges from F40 through F49. And so I want to talk about the mental health codes and bring a little, a reality to it, as this is the Coding Break podcast. And I want to talk about actually taking coding breaks, taking mental health breaks. I was on TikTok and I shared a TikTok video in regards to resting. And it's very important, or I shall say it's imperative, that you take a coding break, that you rest. You don't want to experience burnout, and I can speak from experience. Several years ago, I experienced burnout in my role, and I actually decided to step down from that role because of burnout. And so I want to come on here again to be your reminder that it is time to take your coding break. If you're experiencing burnout or anxiety, and it could be triggered by numerous things. It could be just high productivity requirements. It could be constant changes within the medical coding industry, or it could be something external, such as just economical woes or triggers, or just a lot of distractions, a lot of information that's that's continuously being pumped into your face. Sometimes we just need to take a break, a rest, like an actual coding break. And so that's what I did a couple of weeks ago. I decided to take a coding break. So again, I want to focus on that mental health. Again, the mental health ICD-10 codes range from F40 to F49. And it's imperative that you take your coding breaks, because you don't want that to be a diagnosis on your chart. And I am seeing a lot of F codes, F40 codes, as I am coding day to day, as it relates to people not taking those mental breaks, or they're suffering from some form of anxiety or distractions that is causing a decline in their productivity or decline in their studies and things of that nature. So it is important that you take your coding break. So again, that ICD-10 code range for mental health disorders, the range is F40 through F49. So again, you can take the time to peruse that category. But again, it's important that you take a coding break. Again, there are several reasons why, or you may be experiencing an F40 range diagnosis. Again, but I want to speak specifically to medical coding. Of course, there are so many changes going on externally, economically, that may impact healthcare, that may impact just the day-to-day living, like groceries, educational system, things of that nature. So it can have a negative impact on your mental health, or just your overall health in general. And sometimes burnout creeps up on us, and we don't realize it until it's too late, or to the point where we're unable to function in our day-to-day tasks. Whether, again, coding, whether it be raising our children, whether it be taking care of ourselves mentally as well as physically. And so, again, I want to stress the importance, again, of taking that mental break, or that coding break. And what does burnout look like? Because some of us may not realize what burnout look like. It manifests in different forms, in different ways. I know for me, when I experienced burnout, again, it was tiredness, anxiousness. I was able to perform my day-to-day functions. I kept going, like even when I didn't feel like going, or when I actually needed to rest, I kept going. I kept telling myself that I needed to keep going. And so I kept going to the point where it's like, you know what, I can't do anything, or I did things haphazardly or half-heartedly because I experienced burnout. So these I can't even talk. These were some of my signs of burnout. And so, again, yours may be different. Something I would say, burnout is something that I wouldn't even say it's depression. I think it's more so of just exhaustion. Sometimes we experience exhaustion, however you pronounce that. But you know what I mean. You're too tired to do, task pretty much. And so we have to recognize those signs, and we have to take our break. Even if we have to force ourselves to take breaks. Like, for example, now that I know what my signs are or my triggers are, and I have to force myself to take a break because I am an ambitious person and I like to keep going. And sometimes I have to force myself to take breaks. And that may be some of you're so accustomed to going. And sometimes you have to force yourself to take a break. Sometimes I have to force myself to lie down. I have to force myself to sit in solitude. I have to force myself to take a mental day, or take a mental couple of days, or take a mental weekend to really reset. And one thing about taking your breaks or resting, it helps you, helps with creativity. Like you have, if you want to do something, or it just enlightens your creativity. I was reading this article, it may have been a blog, and they were saying that one of the things that it suggested, to help kind of recalibrate or to relax your nervous system, is to take at least 10 minutes to just sit without the television, the phone, social media, all that. Just sit for 10 minutes in stillness and in quietness, and then allow your nervous system to recalibrate. And actually, it wasn't a blog, it was a YouTube video. Allow your system to recalibrate by sitting in quietness, allowing the distractions to bypass you. And again, do it for 10 minutes or maybe 5 minutes, but again, allowing your nervous system to recalibrate. And so I started doing that. I started sitting for 10 minutes without interruption, without music, without social media, without phone calls, television, all that. I just sat still. And I was calmer. And I like how that felt. Now, again, sometimes, like I said, because I've been accustomed to going, and because I am an ambitious individual, I had to force myself to really rest. It was almost like I didn't allow myself time to get still. I was on to the next thing. And that could be a thing of performative or productivity. Like you are task list, you have a to-do list, and you marking things off, and you're going to the next thing. And so we want to be careful with that, because you don't want to start creating a to-do list and you just marking things off, and you're not feeling, or you're not really involved into that task per se. And you're just going through your to-do list. And once you check things off or mark things off, then you feel successful. And that's not good either. And it's not successful, although you completed those tasks. But is it really success? I don't know. But yeah, so you want to get out of that habit of performing tasks and things and thinking it's successful, or you're successful because of that. That is, in my opinion, that is not success. So again, I'm here to remind you to take your coding breaks. It's okay. The world will continue to go on with or without you, but we want you to be with us. I want to be with you when it comes to just whether it be medical coding, whether it just be life in general. Again, this is your reminder to take your coding break again and take a look at those codes in the mental health categories. Again, that category is F40 through F49. And tell me, you can comment because this will be on YouTube. Tell me if you've experienced an uptick in assigning those codes to cases. So that's all that I have for this coding break. And as always, remember to code on and most definitely take your coding break. Until next time, toodles.